Alright, so I've already done one episode of this series, technically speaking, where I went back and revisited some of my early reviews of Steven Universe, or else some of my reviews of early episodes of Steven Universe. They weren't some of my earliest reviews, though. My review schedule has always been very weird for the show. And I had originally planned to do more Revisi-Verse, is the name of the series, in case you guys didn't read the title. I had planned to do more Revisi-Verse episodes like that one before moving on to my theory videos, but this is kind of what was striking my fancy as I sat down to do this. So we're talking about some of my old theories instead for this second episode of the series. Because first and foremost, the purpose of the Revisi-Verse series is to go back and give myself a chance, and give you guys a chance as well, to collect ideas for topics that I didn't talk about first time through when Steven Universe was on the air. Things that I could still and should still talk about here on the channel, since this is still technically a Steven Universe channel. The title of the channel is still AJ Universe, right? And so my intention has always been to go through my old theories as well and pick out which ones actually panned out and which ones didn't, and see if there's holes in them that still need to be filled, and then try to fill them, because I still want to make theories about this show, and I really need to get back to, at the very least, preparing for that, because, man, I have not been active on the channel much lately, and it's bumming me out probably more than it's bumming you guys out. Anyway, I'm actually going into these mostly blind, which is probably a stupid idea. I probably should have combed through these at least once myself before watching them live for this video, and I'm not going to go through like the entire video bit by bit. I'm just going to give context for and then respond to the context of points in the videos that I find particularly interesting, and then I'm going to assess the theory overall at the end of each video and give myself a score on how many theories I got right and how many theories I got wrong, because of course I'm exactly that vain. And we are going through all of the Steven Universe theories that I've made in the order in which I made them, starting with the one that got me noticed by the few people who ever noticed me. I'm not looking forward to this. I hate this video. It's very, very bad. The audio is terrible, and for some reason I thought that I needed to come up with something really outlandish and grabby for like a second thesis, like halfway through the video. Not even like halfway, I don't remember how far into it doesn't matter. I just remember that I thought I needed to do like the MatPat thing, where I give a reasoned argument for a hypothesis, but then also introduce a twist to the hypothesis partway through the video, and then talk about that too. You'll see what I mean. I'll talk about it when I get to actually coming through the video. A point of the matter is I already know what score I'm going to get from this one, and it's not fantastic. And the video is also just bad in general. It's bad quality. And what's worse about it is this is still the video of mine that the most people have watched. And for a very, very long time, this video was demonetized because it has clips in it. And I didn't know my rights as well back then, and I didn't know how to contest copyright claims back then. And I got real scared when I went to contest the copyright claims and backed out. And back then, when you backed out of making a counterclaim, you couldn't go back and make one if you changed your mind. They eventually changed that and I was able to do it, but for a long time you couldn't do that. So I was just stuck with this video that people were watching, and I was making no revenue off of it at all, and it sucked. So I resent this video for a lot of reasons, but I also, at the same time, am really thankful that I made this video because I got to meet all you guys. Alright, I have met my sappiness quota for today. Let's go ahead and get into this, shall we? Oh god, there's a warning. I forgot I put a warning at the front of it.
I never planned on doing theory videos on my channel, but the subject of this video, a series on Cartoon Network called Steven Universe, just kind of demands it.
Oh my god, the audio on this is worse than I remembered.
Lord, ripe for theorizing. I'm getting into this whole thing pretty late, for literally anything. Nothing really against them, I simply...
Okay, I know I trip over my words a lot, still now, and I know my audio still kind of sucks now, and I know that sometimes I pause for effect now, but I don't pause for effect in videos where I don't show my face unless it's really super important. And my audio is better than this now, right? This is just embarrassing. Why did any of you guys ever come back to watch any more of my content? Holy shit.
For the uninitiated who haven't seen this show, close the video and go watch it. All of it. Except for Say Uncle.
There's a thing that I still do today, huh?
Walking a tightrope around your delicate sensibilities. If you haven't seen the show up to the very latest episode, things are going to be spoiled by this video, and you're not going to be happy about it. Alright.
Okay, so I don't need to comment on this, but I feel like I need to comment on this. The whole delicate sensibilities thing, right? I was originally going to do the asshole critic thing, right? I was going to do the whole asshole persona thing. I've never actually talked about this on the channel because I abandoned it pretty quickly, though I did try to keep it up in the comments, and that probably contributed a lot to some of the clashes I had with people in the comment section for a while, though I am also just bad at taking criticism. That's also a thing. But I originally planned to do the asshole critic thing, so I was dropping little hints in my videos at the time. I don't think there's as many of them in later ones. I could be wrong. I might prove myself wrong. I don't know. But I dropped that in this video specifically to kind of build the character. And then I realized, I mean, I do play up aspects of my personality for my videos in general. Most of the time anyway. Like, when I act kind of full of myself, that's a little bit of a character. But I realized pretty quickly that I liked having authentic interactions with you guys, and that wouldn't really be possible if people were coming to the channel to watch a character, so I abandoned that pretty quickly. And man, is that cringy to me now, hearing that. Because I'd almost completely forgotten that I even ever intended to do that. And even if, like, because my stuff had a little bit of a narrative to it for a while, right? And I would kind of like to reintroduce that, because I think that kind of bad, dumb stuff is a lot of fun. Like, there are entire YouTube channels that I watch primarily for that kind of thing, still to this day. But while I'd like to introduce something like that, it would never take the form that I really intended my character to take here, right? I don't really know where I'm going with this. I kind of feel like I'm issuing an apology. I feel like I should be issuing an apology for even ever considering doing that, because, man, that's bad. That's cringy bad. Also, and I know I still do it a little bit today, I try to be a little more concise and interesting with it nowadays, but I know my lead-ins are kind of long sometimes, but my god, is the lead-in to this one really long and dumb. Like, I didn't need to say, like, 90% of this stuff.
And replay the clip of Stronger Than You over and over again. I've been wondering, do specific gems have specific roles in their society?
I'm trying to think specifically why I would have equated that question to Stronger Than You, aside from just making a topical reference, because I made this video pretty soon after Jailbreak dropped. It probably had something to do with the fact that the way, because I don't remember all the details in this video, maybe I talked about this in the video, I don't know. It might have had something to do with the way that Jasper talked about the function of fusion or something. Maybe that's something that in my mind contributed to this theory. But I probably just wanted to make a topical reference to a song that people were really, really enjoying at the time, to try to rope in more viewers that way. And yet I did not put the title of the song in the title of the video or in any of my video tags, so that literally wouldn't have worked in the first place. But yeah, that is the primary thesis of this video. Do gems in their society have a designated purpose? Does each type of gem have a designated purpose? And of course, we know the answer to that question. It's yes. That has been 100% confirmed by the show. In fact, that ends up being the main reason, or at least one of the inferred main reasons why cross-gem fusions like Garnet are looked down upon by Gem Society in the first place, because unlike their individual components, and also unlike same gem fusions which exist for a reason, i.e. the thing that the individual gem exists for but bigger, cross-gem fusions do not have a role in society and are therefore outliers.
And as a bit of a ancillary speculation, is each gem unique or is there more than one?
What the hell was that in the background there? It's just gross. But that is another thing that we also know the answer to. Yes, there is more than one of each kind of gem, at least there is with a few exceptions.
There's a pearl and garnet primarily here, starting with pearl. There's a little bit of peridot sprinkled in. Pearl is neurotic and obsessive-compulsive, and by far the most knowledgeable of the main cast. It seemed that these were simply her own personal character quirks, and in a way they are. But then we met Peridot. Peridot's character design is very similar to Pearl. They're both very slim. Neither really has much of an athletic build.
Okay, I recorded this entire video on the same audio setup at the same time. I distinctly remember that. I did this in like 20 minutes. Sans editing and stuff. So why did the audio quality get so much worse all of a sudden there? And also, this is the third point that the video makes. I'll just sum it up real quick. Because this is the part of the video I remember, because this is the part that I'm most embarrassed by, aside from the overall quality. I theorized here that pearls may have been tech gems like peridots are, but that they were made obsolete at some point, and peridots replaced them because they have similar builds to each other. Pearl was very knowledgeable about tech things, and peridot seemed more technologically advanced than Pearl in general. But we do find out later that Pearl's neurotic behavior does not come from some compulsion to seek out knowledge or perfect machines or whatever I was implying by bringing it up in the first place. That is kind of just a combination of Pearl's own character quirks and the fact that she was meant to be a demure servant/accessory for her literal owner because she was a slave, and that Pearl's interest in science and tech was just a hobby that she'd picked up. And at the end of the day, even though the lore that we got about Pearl later on in the show debunked the last, I won't even say third, like the last barely less than a half, because that second point I mentioned, the thing about there being more than one of each kind of gem, wasn't really its own point. It was just kind of tagged on to the first point. Even though it debunks that section of this video, I think that's far more interesting and makes Pearl a far more interesting and well-rounded character than if she was just following her programming, right? I'm actually going to stop this video here. The arguments don't really ever go into more detail than that. I did mention there's a section with Garnet. Let's skip ahead to the section with Garnet and look at a little bit of that. But I'm pretty much done with this video, I think. I'm scrumming through here, and here's stuff with Pearl teaching Connie. What was that about?
Connie, how to sword fight. Let me just kind of go off to the side and say that we will be talking a lot more about this episode in the future. Anyway, at one point, Pearl specifically says to Connie,
"Deep down, you know, you weren't built for fighting." And
she literally says built, suggesting that she was literally made for something else.
Okay, yeah, that's actually a pretty good point past me. Also, can we just talk about how terrible the jump from one chunk of audio to the next is, especially going from one source to another, because I was still using like Windows Movie Maker or something back then. Like, the video editing software I use now isn't great, but it is so much better than what I had back then. It's genuinely embarrassing me.
Maybe pearls are the technical, analytical gems. Reject her design purpose and become a warrior despite everything. That would certainly make her defective in Jasper's eyes. And while Ruby seems to be the source of Garnet's great strength, and while Sapphire is very fast and seems to be the source of Garnet's future vision power, they don't seem particularly powerful on their own. Maybe they, like Pearl, are non-combat gems, explaining why Jasper, who seems to have an extreme respect for fighting prowess, says to Garnet,
"Oh great, you're both out, and you're fused again? Why?" Fusion is just a cheap tactic to make weak gems stronger.
No, I think she was disgusted with Garnet because the power granted by fusion allows her to play at being a fighter when that isn't what she was supposed to be in terms of gem society.
Okay, I genuinely didn't remember that I made this point in this video. That's actually pretty smart for where I was in my viewership of the show at the time, I think. I know I'm tooting my own horn here a little bit, but that does make me feel a little bit smarter than I did a second ago, that I picked up on that, because I'd only seen like 5 episodes of the show at this point when I made this. I think, something like that. So I don't know, I guess I give myself like 2/3 of a point for this one. Like, part of it was dumb. The thing about pearls being tech gems on Homeworld and Pearl deciding to be a combat gem was dumb, but the rest of it still holds up better than I remembered. Okay, cool. Going in order, the next one is the theory that Amethyst is a warrior gem like Jasper. We didn't really know the term was quartz back then, though we should have, because Jaspers and Amethysts are both kinds of quartz. But that's beside the point. That one was proven true in its entirety, so I'll give myself a point for that one. I don't even feel like we need to go through that one. The one after that is my first timeline video, which I still want to make a definitive timeline video, because I've seen some online and I don't particularly like how any of them present themselves. But I'm not going to talk about that today. That's not a real theory. That was just a timeline video. So that brings us to the is Jasper a fusion theory. I made this one as kind of a reaction to the theory going around in the fandom, what little bit of the fandom I dipped my toes into at that point. And I don't remember anything about this video. I don't remember what I said in this video at all. It's very, very short though, so I'm going to cram it into the end of this video.
Today we are going to talk about a theory that I already know exists, one that I've done a good amount of research on during the free time I've had during my last few weeks that I've been getting moved into my new place.
Okay, I know for a fact that when I made this video I was using a better audio setup than what I was using for the last one that we looked at, and yet this sounds just as bad to me. Have I really come that far? I'm kind of scared now to continue watching this.
That is the theory that the Homeworld or Jasper is a gem fusion. Now I want to start out by saying that I don't believe this is true, and that if you do believe this is true, that is totally fine. I don't think any less of you, and I don't think you are definitely wrong.
Okay, so I'd obviously already dropped the asshole persona completely by this point. Good to know.
To do this, I'm going to take a look at the 2 variations of fusion that we know of so far, and I'll explain why the visual evidence doesn't support Jasper being either. The first is basic gem fusion, which happens when 2 or more gems synchronize their actions through dance, and then their humanoid avatars merge together. However, their gemstones themselves do not combine. This results in a larger avatar body powered by the gemstones of each gem that was fused.
Okay, so I also tried to build mythos back when I was making these early videos, laying paving stones, for lack of a better term, for theories that I had planned for the future, because I actually had a plan for the future back when I was making these early videos. And I remember I started using terms like avatar and hologram for the gems' bodies, and calling the gemstones power sources, specifically because I wanted to do theories on those topics. This is really irrelevant to this specific analysis of this video, but I had almost forgotten about that, and I thought it might be a bit of trivia to point out to you guys.
This also means that any gem born of this traditional form of fusion must have at least 2 gemstones, no exceptions. There is no second gemstone visible on Jasper, even when her body becomes light and she merges with lapis lazuli. You can see the stone on her nose floating around as they fuse, but the only other gemstone visible is Lapis's gemstone. The second type of fusion that we've seen is the one that I have a few more questions about and therefore can't be 100% sure about, and that is the forced fusion. This is fusion accomplished by forcing fragments of 2 or more gems, actual gemstones, together over time, exposing them to intense pressure. And every resulting gem that we have met, which has been created through this form of fusion, has been very non-humanoid and very deformed. Gemstone of these beings is also obviously made of more than one stone. Jasper's gem is a single uniform piece, and she is clearly humanoid in form. Additionally, Jasper was alive during the war. If this form of fusion could only produce things akin to the cluster at the time of the war, it's unlikely that this is how Jasper was made.
Oh god, I remember this is back when we still thought the hand-shaped force fusion was actually the cluster. Holy shit. But no, the points in this obviously hold up. It's a debunking more than it is a theory. I'm not even going to go through the rest of it. It's clear where it's going. My reasoning was, I think, sound, and obviously Jasper didn't turn out to be a fusion, so I was technically correct. I'm not going to give myself a point for this one, though, because it's not even a theory. It's a debunking, and also, the Jasper fusion theory was dumb, guys. Rose was that big, too. It's not like gems that big were not a thing, even at the time. Like, seriously. So far, nothing with real big holes in it. These are ones that, for the most part, were either proven or disproven in their entirety by the show itself. So this video is super helpful. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it and find it entertaining to some degree, because I didn't really get anything out of it. Aside from getting to revisit my old work, I guess, even if it is embarrassing to me, is worthwhile in that it reminds me where I came from and how far I've come. I actually feel kind of inspired to do better again, like to improve from where I am again after having watched these, because I have improved since then, right? I don't know. If there's anything related to any of the theories that I brought up in my crappy old theory videos that we revisited today that I didn't talk about in them that you think still deserves to be talked about today by members of the fandom, let me know in the comment section down below, over on my Discord or over on my Tumblr. See, I still do the stumbling over my words thing. And I guess just in general, if there are any old fandom theories that I don't ever talk about in my theory series, that I haven't talked about yet in my theory series that you'd like to see my take on, also let me know. Because I think I could definitely work something like that into this Revisi-Verse series too. Especially if it's something that you guys would like to see. So just let me know in general if that sounds like fun. Also, before I go, and this is going to seem like a harsh transition because I have no segue into this topic at all, but I feel like I need to bring up, in a kind of roundabout way, because it's not what this video is about, and I don't want this video to be, like, suppressed by the algorithm because I mentioned something graphic or something. But I feel like I need to mention there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, and while I remain hopeful that the efforts that people are making to bring visibility to the issues in question, I'm talking about all the protests and stuff, right? While I remain optimistic that things are going to improve and change because of the efforts that people are making right now, I also want to let people know that I'm going to do whatever I can to be there for as many people as I can in whatever way I can, because I do support the efforts of those protesters. I'm not in a great place to support them like in an active, literal kind of way right now. I mentioned recently that I'm getting ready to move. All of my finances are being put towards that right now. I literally cannot afford to donate to anything. I can barely even afford to give them my time. So I want to say again, I do stand behind these protesters. I think what they're doing is genuinely good. It's a genuinely good thing. Things need to change, and we need to make that as apparent as we can in whatever way we can, short of like actually committing literal vicious violence on the streets or something, right? Which isn't even a thing that the protesters have been doing, even though some media outlets have been framing it like they have been. But that's an entirely separate subject that I'm not going to get into in this video, because that's not what this video is about. Again, seeing as how, though, I'm not able to contribute financially, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it physically to a protest. I'm going to try, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. I thought the least I could do was include some links in the description of this video to... There's one, I have a link to a video. It's the first in a series of videos that I think every white person in my entire audience should watch. One is a link to a master post over my Tumblr of links to petitions that you can sign, thinking of other people who can't really contribute financially right now. And another one is a master post on Tumblr of how you can use a video by a person of color to support the cause financially without actually giving of your own money. And if any of you guys have any other links along those same kinds of lines that you think it would be helpful if I signal boosted them, either share them with me on my Tumblr and I will share them there, or message me on Tumblr, or message me on Twitter or something with a link. I'll even add the links to the description of this video if you guys think that would help. I just want to help in whatever way I can, as much as I can. Frankly, I think all of us should feel that way right now. Maybe that's a little presumptive of me, but the point still stands. All of that said, though, until next time, guys, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.